Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Today I'm going to be repotting my apple tree. I last repotted this tree 10 years ago and the tree's changed a lot since then. It got disease and it got dieback, and so this is what I'm left with today. I haven't given up on the tree. I'm still going to try and develop it into a nice bonsai. I may change the front of the tree with the repotting, and I don't really need to repot the tree. It still waters really well, but I want to look at the roots and just see what's going on. Maybe pick a new front for the tree, get it in fresh bonsai soil, and continue growing it. Here is a look at the tree. So it's getting very ancient. The main trunk all died back, and I'm left with this thin kind of vein on the apex. It's a very interesting tree. You can see the dead sections of it. It's actually got a hole through here. Yeah, a very interesting tree. And it's just starting to leaf out. You can see the leaves on the branches. So it's a good time to repot it. So I kind of like this view over kind of here as the front now. And it may change as the tree develops, but I think if I repot it, I'll pick this as the front of the tree. It kind of, I think it brings out all the features in that view. Possibly. It may not have a good root base in this view because it's all dead, this section here. So when I get it out of the pot and bare root it, I'll check out all the views of it and see what could be the best front. I think the current front isn't so exciting anymore. I think it needs a change. So the first step will be to get the tree out of the pot. I'm going to start by loosening up the edges of the pot. I don't know how tight it'll be in here. It seems okay, but it might be tight in some areas. Okay, that is loosened up. So now I'm going to try and lift the tree out. So here I go. I'll grab it by here. Grab my other hand on the edge of the pot and lift. There it goes. Okay. So let me take the pot away. This is a really nice tokonami pot. It was sold to me by Usher of the Guelph Club long ago. It's a beautiful pot. So I'll take that away and get it cleaned up. I'm checking out the roots now. So let's just see what's going on here. So there's quite a mat of roots on the bottom. I can still see my drainage screens here, so it hasn't built up a huge mat. Doesn't seem to be a lot of roots around the surface here. So I will begin removing the soil. It's quite compacted actually. So the tree has been growing really well now after it's, it had that, I don't know if it was apple rust or something. It just, sections of the trunk would just go mushy and it would just die back, and it was hard to see, hard to watch, but it happens on fruit trees. They can get a lot of diseases, and it's totally recovered from all those diseases. Everything I read said you should destroy the tree. So I just sprayed the sections with soap and water, kept it clean and dry, and eventually it recovered, amazingly. And you see a lot of old apple trees in orchards and that, with dead, rotted sections on the trunk and hollow trunks, and
So that's kind of the image I'm going for with this tree. Is an ancient old apple tree that's seen a lot of hardships, but it's still surviving, and that's basically the story of this tree. It's just gone through everything, and it's still alive and still growing, and it's always grown really well since it recovered from that disease. Last year it had really good strong growth on it. I've never had it flower, which is kind of disappointing. I'd like to see it in flower, but maybe someday, I don't know. And I'm sure the roots will benefit from fresh bonsai soil, getting more aeration to them. So I can see already the soil, even though it's 10 years old, it's still in okay shape. It drained well. There was never any problems watering the tree. It always just drained through nicely. It never pooled up on the surface. And I can see that it's moist all the way through the soil, so it doesn't have any dry spots or anything. And the front of the tree may be determined by what roots I see. I don't want to have all my surface roots at the back of the tree, because that's one of the features of this tree, is the old mature surface roots. We'll see. Once it's bare rooted, I can have a look at the tree and find the best features and show those off as the front of the tree. And I'll be putting it back in the same pot. It's a nice pot, and I think the tree's a fairly suitable size for the pot, especially when the canopy grows out. When the tree isn't in leaf, it looks a little too much pot and too little tree, but once it leaves out, it looks pretty good. It looks nicely balanced. So I'm starting this repotting quite early in the morning because I know it'll take quite a while. Okay, I think I've got to tilt the tree up now. Be very careful of the branches. So here's the mat of roots on the bottom. Many of them will just be at the edges where they're circled around. And they'll be removed, these ones. Roots look good and healthy. The soil smells nice. There's no rotting or anything. I will cut these long roots away because I won't be using them. I'll be generating new roots, or the tree will be. And I'll try and get my drainage screens out. There's one. Don't know how many holes. There's another one here. I think there was 3 holes in this pot. There should be one up here, yeah. Okay, and then I can start loosening up these roots on the bottom. Yeah, this soil is still in good shape after 10 years. And this was just perlite and safety zorb, my usual mix. Mix 50-50, and it works quite well. So these roots can get cut off here. Just to make my job a little easier. This will make the tree a little lighter to lift too with all the soil removed. Okay, making progress. So I'm going to continue removing soil here before I take it to the washing station. I'll try and get as much of this loose soil off as possible. Okay, I think it's time to take it to the washing station and start cleaning out the soil. Okay, into the water it goes. Like that. And then I can start removing soil. And hopefully the tree will just keep getting lighter and lighter as I work away. Okay, I think it's time to head back inside and continue the work. I think that's all the soil I can get out at this stage. So back in it goes. Okay. Back in with the tree. It's a lot lighter now, and I will continue sorting out the roots, getting rid of all the old soil, and with it a lot of the weeds too. I kept this tree fairly weeded. It had the odd year where it was difficult with that Irish moss, but I just kept working away at it and I got them pretty good. Okay, now it's time to work on the bottom of the root base. So I will tilt the tree up, being careful of the branches. I'll also do a little root pruning here, trimming off some of these roots that are going straight down, just trimming them back, not pruning them right off. I like to keep my roots on the bottom, just cut them back. Yeah, I think that's ready for washing now. Washing number 2. So I'll take the tree to the washing station once again, and we'll be back in a few minutes. All right. I've got them washed up once again. Looking much, much better. There'll still be a little more to remove, but I can begin the root pruning now. And where to start? Well, I think I'll start on the bottom, trying to kind of flatten it out a bit. getting better. I think that'll do for now. So now I can begin working on my roots, the radial roots. They're looking good, nice and radial, all the way around the tree. So I would say, if any, this one's a little high here. The rest kind of flow down. My root plane is sort of here. I got a couple that are quite high. But, you know, they're pretty mature roots. I don't think I'd want to prune them off or anything. I can see on this root I have kind of a knuckle of roots at the end of it. And I need to sort that out. And then the root kind of has a lot of thick ones going down. I think there's 2 roots here and I need to separate them. Like that. Yeah, this is a bit of a pom-pom root. The root was cut and then it divides into many, many roots. So just like the branches on your tree, you don't want multiple roots coming up from one spot. Otherwise it'll thicken up at the end. So I have to pick my most flowing roots and prune away the others. That one's good. This one's a little high here. I can prune that one away. This one starts going uphill there. This one's too far off radial, so it can come out. This one's getting too far off radial. Yeah, so it's just a matter of looking at each root and sorting it out, just like you would on the branches of your tree. Looking for nice flowing roots, subdividing nicely from 1 to 2 ideally. Getting finer and finer ramification towards the edges. Now, I'm wondering about this root. I've kind of got 2 roots on top of each other here. And this one is kind of getting high out of the root base. It's a cool root, but if I removed it, do I have anything better below? Probably I do. I have this root down here. You can see it coming off here. So I think this upper one needs to be removed. It's an old mature root, but I think the tree would be better without it. So I'll just rough cut it off first, removing that, and then I'll nibble it back. So that helps. I don't have that root kind of so high now. I have a similar situation with this root. I'm not seeing any options with this root. I do have some roots below, but it's a nice looking root and I don't want to kill it off or anything. It has a lot of character to it. So I think it's just a matter of keeping it and maybe sorting it out a bit. So again, kind of picking my best roots. This one's nice. However, it is quite high in the root plane. I do have some good roots below it, so I think I will take that one off. It's a nice root, but I think it'll improve by removing it. This one also. See these good roots below here. This one's too high and the other one too. At least the root will be kind of flowing down into the soil now. That one off shorter. That one off shorter. Let's prune the tip of that one. There's one off radial here I'm removing. It was growing sideways. Other than that, it's not too bad. I could remove a root from here, giving these roots a little more room. Like that, so they have a bit more room to grow. This one's off radial. This one's growing too high. This one's too high. Shorten that one, shorten that one. Got a third root in the middle here. Weed. So I'm just kind of going around the tree now, looking for problem areas. Here. There's one growing back in towards the tree. There's one sticking up here. This one's a bit high, not very flowing either. Sticking up here. This one's not very radial. Get rid of that. This one's sticking up. This one's sticking up here. This one's sticking up. Okay, I think I've got a lot of the problem areas resolved. The rest is looking pretty good. I can't complain. I think this root is still a bit of a pom-pom root. I think some of these ones coming out here need to be removed. Come off. Maybe this one, it's kind of growing back in towards the center of the tree. Maybe this one too. That's better. There's a root growing back in here that's growing 90 degrees to the radial direction. It's going to come out. It's going to come off. It's too crowded. This one can come off. It's going from the top of a root. This one can come off. Shorten that one. That one's okay. Shorten that one. Okay, well, I think the next step is to just kind of further refine the bottom a bit. And then the next step will be try the tree out in the pot. See what I like as a front. The bottom's pretty good there. Okay, so I'll clean up, wash the roots once more, and then come back. And I'm wondering, the soil in the middle of the tree here, I left it in there to grow roots, and it did grow roots. But I'm wondering if I should remove it now. See what's going on. I can always fill it back in. So I will remove this. Yeah, I better kind of dig it out and just see what's going on. If I have roots in there, I can cover them back up. I do have roots, but it's just some of these areas I don't, and I might as well get the decaying matter out of here. Wood here. You can see all the roots that have grown into that decaying wood. So hopefully I can sort them out so they kind of grow up and thicken and maybe eventually heal that section of the tree a bit. Okay, I think I'll wash it up once again, the final probably washing of the roots. Try and clean out the center section in the water a bit, and then we'll come back and try the tree out in the pot and pick a front for it. I've rewashed the tree, and I was digging around. There was moss growing on this part of the tree, so I dug out all the rotted wood, and it is hollow right through to the trunk down here. So it's an interesting feature. I've got like this bridge of living wood across here. Yeah, it's quite interesting. And then the roots that are in the middle here, the trunk is hollow too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and direct them down through the hollow trunk out the bottom of the tree. There's a hole in the bottom of the tree. So that's what I'll do. Try and direct all those roots down into the soil. And then I can leave this part hollow up here. Okay, root redirection if possible. So I have to find my hollow part of the trunk, which is down here, and then try and direct the roots down through that hole. I might have to use my fingers here. That way the roots will continue growing, and as they thicken up, it'll help kind of reinforce that part of the tree. There's some that are growing from here down into the soil off the side, but these ones that are sticking up will have to be pruned off. I just can't redirect that one, so that can come off. Prune those upper roots off there. And then I've directed this one down through the hole here with my finger. I'm just seeing if there's any other ones I can push down through the hole. Yeah, like that. Yeah, so they're all the ones I can are going down out the bottom of the tree. Oh, there's a chunk of wood just fell off the bottom. Yeah, it's a bit of a shell of a tree. But, you know, I always said in bonsai, you know, you work with what you have. There's another bit of a rotted section here I have to clean out a bit. Now this one I could relocate going out the bottom of the tree also, and I think I will. The more roots I have in here, the better. So that is coming out the bottom like that. There's a few more I can trim off that are sticking up here. They won't survive. There, so that's helped. That's got as much work as I can do on the tree. So now it is time to try the tree out in the pot. So I'll get a base layer of soil on the pot so I can set the tree on top, and then try some different positions. See what looks the best and the most interesting. I've got the pot cleaned up. Now I just wiped the pot down. With an old pot like this, and a good pot, you know, with the raw clay color, I don't put oils on the pot and I don't scrub it or anything. I just clean it with a cloth. And that way you get kind of natural patina. You can see there's a bit of algae in places. Yeah, it's kind of a balance. If you want an old looking pot, they just age naturally, but you don't want to clean all the patina off it, making it look like a brand new pot. You want to keep some of it, especially with an old tree. So I will get my Chris Marshall drainage screens in the bottom of the pot and fill it with a base layer of soil now. So I've got 3 holes, so I'm going to put a fairly big screen in the biggest hole like that. And then I need 2 little ones for the side holes. Just like that. And now I can add soil, and I'll fill it about halfway and then try the tree out. Okay, in goes the soil. Hold my breath so I don't breathe any dust in. I'm going to wet this soil down, just so it doesn't create a lot of dust. Okay, so I have to pick a front for the tree, so maybe I'll do that first before we put it in the pot. I'll take the pot away. And then find a front for the tree. So let's have a look at it. Okay, so I'm looking at the tree. I think this bridge here, this living bridge across here, is a nice feature. I don't want this the front, the big gaping hole there. I think anything in this kind of view, there's just too much dead wood, not enough living tree. It looks a bit funny.
It's not bad here, looking in this view. You kind of see that hole. I think that's fairly close to where the front was on the tree. Maybe that will end up being the best front. I have a lot of moss I have to pick away here. I'll do that after it's planted. Well, yeah, nothing is good in this view. Nothing here. Here is interesting. This kind of view here. It's a possibility. It is kind of cool, that view. This part of the tree's coming towards you. You can see the, the hollows, and it looks quite good. Everything here doesn't really show the features off, and the trunk isn't so nice looking in this view. Front view's not bad. The old front. Do I like this view? Not really. I think the front is still going to be it, or, a variation on the old front. Maybe right here, I think looks pretty good. I'll try planting it like that. So I'm just trying the tree out in the pot, and I have the option of tilting it a little bit, rotating it. Can't go too far, but I can do some adjustments. The roots are they're very close to the edge of the pot, so I think I'll prune them back a bit. I never really did a profile prune on the roots, so I'll do it while it's in the pot here, just to give a bit of space between the roots and the edge of the pot. That'll give me a little more room to play around with the position of the tree. It's a little tight in there at the moment. So I'm just taking off, a few centimeters all the way around, so the roots aren't hitting the edge of the pot. Here. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so now I can try and get this positioned. So for a front, yeah, maybe more this view. So I'll rotate it around a bit more. So you can see that hollow through here. So there's the front at the moment. Yeah, that might be the best position for it. Now, I can move it left and right in the pot. It would make sense to go a little bit in, probably towards the right, because I have these strong roots on this side. I'll try that. Yeah, that looks a little better. Could I go a little more? That is the question. Yeah, it's not bad. The height in the pot is quite nice. I could raise it just a little bit to show a bit more of the surface roots. I think I should. And I think there's the front. I think it's looking good. The best it can, anyway. Yeah, I don't think I can do too much more other than just raising it a bit. So I'll do that. I'll add a bit of soil underneath and kind of raise it in the pot a bit.
And I think that'll be it. I think I'll just rake out the roots and start filling it in with soil. Okay, that should be high enough. So now I have to rotate the tree down into position. Yeah. That's looking pretty good there. Yeah, there's the front. I'm happy with that. I think the roots are, you can see the root flare. It'll be above the soil level. I think that's good. So I'll start raking out the roots now. Here is a look at the room I have in the pot. So I just made a bit of clearance between the roots and the edge of the pot. So I think that's all looking good. So I'll just sort my roots out, making sure they're as radial as I can get them. Everything is looking good on the tree now. So I will fill it in with soil and then work it into the roots. The soil's a little heavy on the perlite. I don't think I mixed it well enough in the bin. So that's kind of what I'm left with, but it'll work fine. Perlite makes a good soil. The only reason I don't use pure perlite is it dries out a little quick and it's not very heavy. It doesn't give any weight to the soil, which I think is important to kind of hold your tree in the pot, and the perlite would just kind of blow away in the wind. You can see my soil level going down as I work the soil into the roots. I've got the soil worked into the roots, so now it's time to water the tree. So here I go. And I'm not going to moss it up because I want to keep the soil exposed so I can water it properly. Make sure it stays moist until the roots start growing again. So I'll run several watering cans through this soil, making sure it's all soaked. And I'll water it many times today, keeping it all moist. So aftercare will be critical for this tree, to keep it well watered, keep it above freezing, keep it in good sunshine. And it should grow, it should do quite well. Let's have a look at the tree now. So here's the front. A new front. It's not a whole lot different than before, but just slightly changed. The tree's angled a bit. It's offset in the pot just a little more. So I'll rotate it around. So here's the front view. Coming around to the right-hand side. To the back. The left-hand side. And back to the front. Let's fly in now and have a look at the tree from a few different angles.
that completes the work on my apple tree for today. It's repotted. I think the time of the year was right. I think, good root pruning. There's lots of roots left to keep the tree healthy and alive, and it should do even better in the new soil this year. Time will tell. I'll keep you updated on the tree's progress. So that's all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.